Radio contact has been attempted but cannot be established. Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy.
Yes.
Welcome to the Mind Cemetery. This is where the parents...
Ships of an alien source are approaching from the sky. Radio contact has been attempted but cannot be established. Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy.
Yes.
Welcome to the Mind Cemetery. This is where the paranoia about paranormal comes to rest. As always, we will do our best to delve into the unexplained, weird, intriguing, and sometimes creepy topics you won't hear on your local news. I'm your host, Chip, and alongside me, as always, is my wife and co-host, Nicole. You can catch us live every Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern right here on the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Subscribe to us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Just search for Mind Cemetery. You can now find us on iTunes by searching UFO Paranormal Radio Network and by clicking the iTunes icon on the player widget on our homepage. And you can find us at mindcemetery.com, the upcoming show calendar, where you can browse our schedule of guests, check out the Mind Cemetery Strange News feed, peruse our extensive archive of past shows and our archive blogs, track the activity of Nicole's favorite alien stalker, and as always, check out the critically acclaimed mindcemetery.com blog, where you can get information on upcoming shows, information past shows, and plenty of interesting nuggets and tidbits that are blogged about throughout the week. The phone lines are open for anyone interested in calling in and joining our discussion tonight. Our number is 150 shows, information on past shows, and plenty of interesting nuggets and tidbits that are blogged about throughout the week. The phone lines are open for anyone interested in calling in and joining our discussion tonight. Our number is 1-504-273-7379. Who is this that's back?
This is Nicole. Who is this?
This is Chip.
Ah, okay, good. I haven't seen you today.
Today?
Today.
Well, then it was a good day so far.
For you, maybe.
Oh, yeah. It was ecstatic today. It was a banner day.
I haven't seen our listening audience in like 3 weeks.
They don't miss you.
Y'all don't miss me.
They don't
what
know
the
who
hell,
you are
man?
anymore. They forgot all about you.
I'm the most awesome part of this show. I mean, without me, it's just, yes, I believe everything you say all the time.
It's a love fest, isn't it?
It is a love fest.
With random phone ringing. No. That's our new guest.
Yeah, that's another guest ringing we got coming in.
Yes. So it's going to be a
we
little
have 3
interesting
guests.
here.
Hello.
Yes, Nick.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much. This is Chip. We are live right now, and we have Karen getting ready to get patched through. Joe, our producer, is doing it, so we're just kind of breeze until that happens, just to give you a heads up. John's with us also. Say hello, John.
Hey, what's up?
There you
what's
go.
Up, John?
And while Karen's getting patched in, Chip, who are these people? I don't know them.
These individuals here are a part of the Carolina Hauntings, Apparitions, and Poltergeist Society meetup group, and they did a presentation this last Thursday.
What was this subject?
As seen on TV.
Hello.
Hello, this is Karen. This is Chip, and everybody's here finally.
Hey.
We'd kind of finally patched it in at the last minute, as always with our show, so I was just getting ready to introduce you guys as, what is the name of your guys' paranormal group, by the way? Anybody want to take that one?
The team of independent investigators with no name.
Nice.
Yeah, we're actually question mark.
That works too. That pretty much goes for the entire field. Could roll with that one.
Yeah, we're working on getting a little more organized, but it's a lengthy process if you want to do it right. We don't want to slap a name together and just be like, oh, we're such and such team, and not really have any goals or directives or anything like that. So
you sure? I hear it's a good idea to Google my site, GeoCities site overnight and call it a day.
Yeah, I try to stay away from that.
Very good. That's good to hear. I like strategy. It's rare in this field.
Yeah, I've been a part of 2 different teams now, and learn a lot from those 2 experiences. And if we're gonna form a team, we need to do it right. So we're just taking it slow.
Cool stuff.
There you go. All right, and you guys did a presentation titled "As Seen on TV," and if it sounds like what I think it sounds like, it's a good time because a lot of people, a lot of armchair investigators, let's just call them, that love these shows and think that they are just the cat's ass, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it's basically, as the title says, basically what we did is put together a couple graphs for some high-end or high-profile, if you will, locations such as Waverly Hills, Moundsville Penitentiary, places like that. And basically what we did is just compare what the TV shows got evidence-wise versus our true experiences there, our experiences there. And needless to say, it was a little unbalanced.
There you go. Now that sounds a great idea for any paranormal group out there, is just go out to these same sites that the TVs have been through and investigated, and do it yourself and see what happens, to cross-reference it and see what actually can happen when you're out there.
Yeah, John Michael there put together a pretty good intro video for us, and part of it was the Ghost Adventures crew sitting outside of, I believe it was it Bobby Mackey's or Moundsville? That was Mackey's, I believe. Yeah, and they were like, we challenge anybody to come in here skeptical and tell us what you think when you leave. You won't be skeptical anymore. Well, yeah, Karen and I have been there 3 times, and yeah, we're still skeptical.
Really, you guys have actually been up in there. See, that's one site that I would really love to go into or check out. But go ahead and talk about what you guys did in there, since you're...
Karen, you want to take that?
Sure. Well, the only time that I've been was a 2-night public investigation, so I don't know if it's necessarily the best way to go about going there. First of all, the noise carries like weed there, so when you have 20 people in that kind of place, you're going to have all sorts of evidence contamination. So you're going to get lots of banging and whispering type sounds that you just have to throw out, first of all. But other than that type of thing, I don't think we didn't get anything there at all. The 2 times that I went, I had one strange kind of feeling, but I can't say that was anything. I could have just been creeped out because I was, in a dark room. But I don't think that place is haunted personally. Nick, you went another time where, we caught some, or you guys caught some EVPs, but I don't know, maybe you have different thoughts than I do on the place.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. It doesn't help that all of the supposed history there can't actually be verified. The whole, Pearl having her head cut off and thrown down a well, none of that's can actually be found in police records or anything like that. So the history there could possibly be a little overblown. But I know the first time we went, it wasn't a public investigation, but I think we had a few that we needed to have there. And the sound there, like you could drop a pin on the main floor and it sounded like the roof was caving in the basement. And a lot of shadow play in the basement where all these demons are supposed to hang out. And the only personal experience I had there, I actually debunked the second time I went around. second time I was there. I thought a door had opened and closed itself on its own, but I actually figured out why it did that. So I personally don't have any personal experiences from there, so I don't know. Ghost Adventures said they had spirits follow them home and made I think it was Aaron divorce his wife, and it was just a train wreck of silly things that happened. And honestly, we went into the presentation trying not to bash these shows, but it kind of, I don't know, we kind of strayed a little bit because it's so easy to.
Yeah.
Some of what we found in viewing some of the episodes was just so ridiculous, you just sort of had to make fun of it.
I will say Ghost Hunters did a pretty good job at that location. They actually didn't really catch anything, and they actually found that the main floor had a ton of EMF, which could contribute to some of the personal experiences there, as, you know, people feeling things and stuff. They actually did a pretty good job. I think they only had like 3 personal experiences, and I think they caught 1 EVP, and that's it. And that's about on par with what happened with us. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing it online. I forget which paranormal group it was. It was something off of Blog Talk back last year when we were still on Blog Talk Radio. They did like a live investigation there, right? And they had a video feed off a third-party site. I forget what it all was actually, but after seeing, you know, the shows and everybody talking about how, like you said, there's demons in the basement and all this craziness, right? I thought, this place must be awesome. And then I look and I'm watching these guys doing the live investigation online, and it was the biggest shit show I think I've ever seen. Where they're walking around asking questions, you know, floors creaking like crazy, like you said, and the place is so flooded with garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a hoarder's house.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's no wonder people see shadows everywhere. You know, there's just crap all over the place.
And when it comes to divorcing your wife because a demon followed you home from that place, do you think that held up in court? Because I'm going to use that one, I think, Nicole. Get ready for that defense.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
We're not trying to directly knock Bobby Mackey's. I mean, there might be something there. I mean, we did catch a pretty crazy EP there, but I don't think it's to the extent that you see Ghost Adventures. I mean, pretty much every location Ghost Adventures goes to is just a circus. They caught more stuff. What was it? It was either Bobby Mackey's or Waverly or Trans-Allegheny. They caught more stuff in one investigation than all of our investigations on our presentations combined. I mean, either spirits love Zach and how he always pulls his shirt up to show off the or I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just extremely lucky, but I highly doubt it. Maybe I need to start taking my shirt off on investigations.
It seems to work. But, John, tell us about the opening video that you put together for that. What did that have in it?
That was awesome. Yeah. It's actually my first video I've ever made in my entire life.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it was just basically contrasting the difference between what you see on TV and ultimately what reality is for a typical investigator. It had all the crazy scenes that you see on TV. You have Paranormal State talking about demons. You have Zach Baggins and his crew just running around and tripping over each other and going crazy. And you have kind of the unfortunate late era of Ghost Hunters where they just catch all sorts of evidence, unlike what they used to be like. And then you have that contrast. I have crazy music playing, and then it shows at the end. It shows Nick and Karen, and they're just sitting there. Nick's kind of looking around, clearly bored out of his mind. Karen's sitting there tapping her feet, ready to leave the location. I put superimposed crickets also.
Nice.
To add the effect, and Nick, asks, why are we here? I mean, because that's what it's like. I mean, it's not like what you see on TV. It's literally 99% of the time, you're just sitting in the dark, staring off, asking questions to yourself, and then you get to go home and review all of that evidence, which is just a lot.
Yeah, all of that nothing 99.9% of the time.
Right.
Nicole, do these sound like your kind of people yet? Very skeptical, nothing's going to happen here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm actually pissed off I'm here. You know?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. In all fairness, that to ask why are we here, that was the perfect clip to put in that, because like John said, you have the crickets playing, there's about 10 seconds of us just sitting there twiddling our thumbs and looking around, and I actually ask, why are we here? It sounds like I'm bored and just saying that, but I'm actually doing an EVP session. I was actually trying to get the spirits to, if maybe they know why we're there, maybe to respond to that. And that was at Waverly Hills, which is supposed to be incredibly haunted, and we came away with absolutely nothing. The team we worked with, though, Great Concerns out of Virginia, they actually caught a pretty interesting clip in the first floor, but even that's up for discussion. But it wasn't anything like you see on TV. Cool place, though. I would definitely go back, give it another crack. I mean, the weather was kind of crappy too. I'm sure that didn't help, but
sure.
But yeah, it was awesome.
Well, if I could, I know we had John on a couple weeks ago. What exactly drove Nick and Karen, you guys, to even want to do this kind of thing? Then, if you want to take it one at a time, there.
Karen, you want to go?
Sure. I actually used to work at a plantation, and I was in charge of all the events and things like that went on there. And an old group contacted me and wanted to do an investigation there. And I told them, sure, they could do that, but the only stipulation was that I had to come along with them, and I told them it was to make sure everything went okay and things like that. But really, it was because I was interested in it and I wanted to go along on the investigation for fun. Mm-hmm. And so I did that 4 years ago, and it was great. And about a year after that, I ended up joining that group and have been investigating with Nick ever since. And it's just, it's interesting. It's not what I expected it to be, obviously, because, we're not running around screaming and tearing our shirts off and being possessed and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just made it out to be. But, even not getting evidence, we go to some amazing places, see some amazing things, and, I work with great people. So it's different, but I love it.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah, for me, I kind of grew up with it. I had a passion ever since I was 6 years old about the paranormal. I always go up and see my family, and I'd always ask, "Did anything happen? Did anything happen?" Because it seemed like they always had stuff going on up there. But kind of grew up with it. And of course, Ghost Hunters came out, and I didn't realize there were these teams going around doing that. I'm like, man, I would love to do that. And I got out of the Coast Guard and looked up a local team and started doing it. And I got to say, just anybody that enters the field, sees what's on TV and expects it to be like that. Well, it's amazing how skeptical I've become since I've started doing it. Once you actually educate yourself on what is actually going on around you, and if you really try to figure out natural causes, you realize that 99% of what you think may be paranormal really isn't. And I think any responsible paranormal investigator, should be that way. They shouldn't just go out and assume everything's haunted. I'm sorry?
I was going to say, I think you and I probably feed off of each other, too, and are more skeptical than the average bear, too, because of us feeding off of each other. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm always on the fence if I'm going to keep doing it or not, just because, I get online and I see pictures of just reflections and people using the Ghost app and everything, and it just really annoys the crap out of me. It seems like it's multiplying, but it's always fun to go to these places, even though nothing happens. It's cool to see them, and it's just cool to travel. And when you have that one true paranormal experience, it makes up for the 20 previous investigations where nothing happens.
That's true. It reinvigorates you. It juices you up to go for your next one, and hopefully it'll happen again. It keeps you going. It's kind of like an adrenaline junkie, I guess it could be considered.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like people have stuff happen all the time. I mean, it just kind of makes it common, and you don't appreciate it as much. Where us, even evidence we have, we're constantly trying to figure out what it could possibly be. Like, I actually had to throw away one of my craziest personal experiences recently just because, we've been analyzing it for years, and like, basically what I heard was my name called out in the Ohio State Reformatory, and I actually responded to it, and to me it sounded like my name, but we actually caught it on audio, and there's nothing in the background, so that's pretty much what we have to chalk it up to. So,
yikes.
Occam's razor, it's frustrating, but if we're going to do it right, that's what we have to do.
There you go.
And,
now, which shows out there would you suggest people watch at all, if any? Which are, like, your favorites? If any.
John, you can start on that one.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about favorite in terms of entertainment,
sure.
It's going to be Ghost Adventures, because they're so entertaining. I love making fun of them more than anything. I love making fun of Zach Bag. It's just too entertaining. But really, if you actually want to watch and get the closest on how it really is, like Nick has always said, the first 3 seasons of Ghost Hunters is about the only show that has come close to what we do or what we've experienced. I mean, we've had some crazy stuff happen in the Ohio State Reformatory before, as we've been talking about, but Ghost Hunters actually ran there. I believe it was the Ohio State Reformatory. And they said, we can't understand why everyone thinks these big old places are actually haunted. Like that, they had a really skeptical approach, they had a really good approach, and half the time nothing would happen on the shows. So if you really want to get a good flavor, or a good taste of what it's really like, I would say the first 3 seasons of Ghost Hunters, and then they kind of, I think money got to them, and they kind of, started going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
But,
Anytime there's this show format, it just bugs me a little bit. Like Chip and I were watching, I don't know, some UFO crap this weekend, and like for me, it always bugs me because there's this timeline, right? And I know there's this production value associated with the show. I mean, say they have a ridiculous amount, like $500,000 to produce this show. Well, $500,000 only buys a limited quantity of time. So these sporadic events have to occur in this limited quantity of time, of which there's no more mat to reproduce these things on command, these events. I'm sure, just playing devil's advocate, you guys have had wins and loses, where you were able to reproduce or not reproduce. The shows just always bug me because I can't see any credibility in something that has a production value.
Right. I will say, besides Ghost Hunters, and I don't mean to monopolize this question, but fact or faked, I mean, they miss a lot. Maybe not a lot, but they do have some misses, but they take a skeptical approach to what they're doing. And I think that's one show that has really said, we could take a skeptical approach, we could take a truth-seeking approach, but still deliver an entertaining show. And I love that format. There's some things that annoy me about it. They don't always get it right. Like one time they thought a ghost had walked by a camera and it was a spider web. But for the most part, it's a good show. And really entertaining. And they do other stuff like UFOs and cryptozoology and stuff like that. As well as ghosts.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because maybe here my little bit of paranoia pokes through. I always think there's some guy in the background, some producer saying, you need to get my money back, and what's going to get you more views than something happening, frankly, the viewing public just doesn't tune in to see a lot of staring at space. You know, they can make it entertaining. Some of those shows have done a really good job, to your point, of making it entertaining when it is just a hunt. Like, they're actually making the science of it entertaining, which I can respect. Right. You know, but that fabricating something into nothing, that annoys everything out of me.
Yeah, I call it the History Channel effect. Do you guys really watch History Channel? Remember back in the day, like 5 or 10 years ago, I don't know about 10 years, but you know, back in the day when History Channel actually had shows on history, they actually talked about historical things and was entertaining while being extremely educating. Now we have like all sorts of crap that has little to nothing to do with history. History is almost an afterthought in the programs. I mean, I think that's what happens to a lot of these shows that go on Twitter. I think it's the Ghost Hunters. They, you know, had a legit show, and then I think the producers were like, all right, we need to make money, we need to ramp it up, and everything went downhill from there. It's pretty amusing.
That's a good idea, though, because I'm almost barely old enough to remember when History Channel used to be about history. You know, now you watch it and it's like alien. What is it called, Chip? Ancient Aliens.
Yes.
Why Adolf Hitler was a woman. Like, it's all sensational garbage, you know.
It used to be Civil War, the Hitler Channel, and what was the other one? The Wild West something. Yeah, well, that's part of the Hitler Channel. I put that under that umbrella.
Oh, there you go, the Hitler Channel. I mean, but there was something to be gained from it. But you do, I mean, and that's what I'm just trying to say. At some point, even the most earnest, you know, writers and directors will become susceptible to whoever's holding the purse strings. You know, and they got to keep it on the air.
No, it's really funny. As much as we knock Ghost Adventures, I think it's safe to say that, you know, me, Karen, and John, we all kind of want to meet Mr. Zach Baggins because I know how TV contracts work. I know you have to act a certain way, and from what I've heard, like, Zach Baggins' real life is actually a pretty cool guy. And we actually saw. We did an investigation at the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, and Zach Baggins and his crew were there doing, I think it was, what was the show? The competition.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Paranormal Challenge?
Yeah, Paranormal Challenge. I think that's the show they were doing, but, you know, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital has, like, some ridiculous amount of cameras going at any certain time. And we actually got to see Zach Baggins investigating on his own, like, off TV. And he's so just relaxed and chill. Like, you walk into a room, he's like, hey, I'm Zach, what's your name?
I love him, actually.
Yeah, it was like, wow. You know, he didn't go busting the door down and demanding the demons, you know, throw a brick at him.
Maybe he hadn't juiced yet for the day.
Yeah, true. So, and I actually saw him on a public investigation at Waverly Hills, and it was the same thing. He was just like any other normal average Joe. He was asking questions, you know, wasn't raising his voice. He was real calm. So I know once those cameras turn on, he has to take on a certain persona to, you know, appease the audience.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot of things that most people don't really care for or can discern the difference between information and entertainment, especially in the paranormal and UFO fields, for sure. A lot of those clowns in ufology get pawned off as scientists, and I know Richard C. Hoagland comes to mind in that stupid field, and that guy's a joke, and you know, there's and the problem with that is like I kind of feel I feel duped because I listened to him, you know, years ago on Coast to Coast, and lo and behold, once I finally got a clue and started doing this show myself and looking at this stuff, and then listening to him say stuff like, you know, cat people from Mars and breakaway Nazi UFOs that was Comet Elenin, and I'm like, stop the fucking train here, you know.
Oh, Chip.
This guy.
FCC or FTC or whatever.
Yeah, FTC.
Joe gets fined.
Yeah, they got a beeper.
Beep.
So, they, it's when he gets pawned off as the scientific advisor for Coast to Coast that I flip my lid, and I think I actually canceled my Coast Insider membership over it. and I got on with him and questioned him about his breakaway UFO Comet Ellen, and he's like, well, I never said Nazi. I was like, you said Fourth Reich, you jerk. What do you... it's all wordsmithing is what I call it, from these clowns. And then you got this... Andrew Bisagino that claims he was in a jump room going to Mars with Obama and all this craziness, and he'll be the president in 8 years or some shenanigans. And Andrew Bisagino, Alfred Weber, and Richard C. Hoagland. I call the Three Stooges of ufology, but we'll be talking about that in the second hour anyway. But yeah, it's the difference between entertainment and information, and there's a lot of people that get very pissed off in both fields when they see people out there doing the entertainment end of it, like the TV stuff, and then the listeners or the followers or the viewers get to take that all as fact.
No, Chip, you're missing the core of this here. All right, so if you look at the viewing public as sheeple, okay, to be manipulated, all right, then you have these two. Preachers, essentially. You have this super scientific crowd that goes at it from a skeptical perspective and, I'm going to be real about this, I'm going to apply a specific methodology or whatever. And then you have the entertainers, right? Well, who are the sheeple going to believe? Because the entertainers and the serious, semi-skeptical people are saying the same thing. They're even saying they have the same job title. I mean, shoot, everyone I see on TV says ufologist, ufologist, ufologist. Everybody's a ufologist. Do y'all have degrees or what?
Well,
but,
no.
Meanwhile, how can it be taken too seriously? Because people don't know what's the real deal and what's not anymore. Suddenly, everybody's a ufologist.
So basically, go ahead.
It's kind of like demonology in the ghost field.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody,
it's the same thing.
Everybody just became a demonologist because they read a book.
That's the new rock star position in paranormal investigation.
Yeah.
I read a book on exorcism. I am a demonologist.
Yeah.
And that's the qualifying standards anymore. I'm not saying there needs to be this paranormal college or anything, but I wish that whatever happened to Dr. Venkman having degrees in psychology and parapsychology? This is what I want to see,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think, unfortunately, I personally, and this is just my opinion, I'm not keen on degrees in parapsychology specifically, because at the end of the day, we don't know whether, ghosts or aliens exist or not. I mean, it's an unknown. And as investigators, you have to be open to the fact that, ghosts might not be real. I mean, that's part of your job. It's not to assume that ghosts really exist. So until we can gather enough data, until we can apply the scientific method to what we're doing, we can't have any degrees. We're going to have to, which the majority of people disagree with in this field, we're going to have to bring out expertise from outside of the field, things that we do know, like philosophy and logic, psychology and science. But what I wish would happen is scientists, like geologists, people that know how to use a scientific method, psychologists who understand the human psyche, people with philosophy who ask the right questions, who know how to discern truth from falsehood.
Yeah.
We need those kind of people to step up, people who are vaguely interested and just sacrifice a little of themselves, use the tools that they've been trained with, and come into this field and help us gather data, gather evidence. Maybe one day we will be able to demonstrate things that happen using scientific methods. But until then, I'm against degrees. I'm against colleges. And
I was, by the way, I was just making I was just listening to Ghostbusters. But I totally agree with you, and what you said makes total sense. All I'm asking is that the people that do say they are whatever, demonologist, and somebody posted in our chat room, an abductologist, whatever it is, some kinds of qualifications or backgrounds or anything. Anything that lets me know that you can discern BS from reality.
Right. If you want to do knowledge, just go to seminary. You may or may not be religious, but
right
now, that's one of the best places to learn about, demons. If you want to learn about ghosts, go get good degrees. Maybe you're not going to use them as a career, but go learn.
Yeah, and I'm with you. That's a great point, actually. I would have a ton more respect for told me they were a demonologist if they had gone to seminary. That's okay. You have some kind of, whatever unique background we can provide, you have it. So, I mean, just connecting those little dots. I just don't like these fly-by-nights that say, they saw a ghost, now they're a ghostologist, or whatever we're calling it today. I don't know.
And then you have these people that pay $100 to take a 3-hour course, and they become certified ghost hunters.
Yikes. That's a hell of a gig right there to fool people into that one.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there that, pay this, come do our class, and we'll give you a certificate.
Yeah.
There's actually a guy, I'm not going to say his name, out of Kentucky that goes around just shoving down people's throats that he's a certified paranormal investigator. Like, who the hell is qualified to certify somebody for that?
Exactly. Where does that even start?
I mean, come on, really?
Listen, unless it is, legit a Ghostbuster, I don't think the certification's valid. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big topic, but people get all riled up over it, but for good reason. I mean, who the hell has the right to deem somebody certified? Who certified them?
Yeah. Maybe a headless ghost or something here and certifies me. I'd be cool with it. But
it's just annoying.
Sorry I took over, Chip.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, Razzle Dazzle's always going to beat out Lab Coat Nerd, In a nutshell.
Lab Coat Nerd's the one actually doing the interesting stuff. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, you don't have time for that. I need yelling and Slimer is what I need.
The problem is we just have to collect all the nerds and put them on one channel, and all the nerds will tune into that channel. It's so interdispersed now. The viewing audience gets split up. It's a mess.
What is the commercials going to look like?
Commercials. Yeah, computers. Maybe iMac commercials.
Bunch of Mac computers. Commercials.
Mac versus PC, guys. Oh, and commercials for Batman. Nerds do love Batman.
And movies, yes.
We're big fans. By the way, I am going to the midnight showing on Thursday.
Thanks for rubbing it in. Thanks for getting me a ticket. Grounds for divorce. Leaving. I'm done.
Somebody's got to watch our child, dear.
We have in-laws. Something to take care of, at least. But yeah, what's your good, bad, and ugly, Karen, when it comes to paranormal TV shows?
I used to like Fact or Fake. They were the least objectionable, but even lately, they are driving me insane just because they're missing so much. And I mean, they're still doing a good job, better than anybody else, and their main goal is to debunk things, but they still, like I said, just miss too many things, and I still scream at the TV when I watch it, so I just try not to watch any of it at all now, unless I absolutely have to.
And I'm kind of in that same boat. I kind of gave up on watching all those shows. Fact or Fake was one of the better ones, I thought. I'm done with Ghost Hunters. I'm done with, Ghost Adventurers. Get Lost. I don't have enough gel or hair to watch that show. So I'm disqualified. And what's the other one? The Haunted Collector can go straight to hell. What is his name?
John Zaffis.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to hell, you.
I never even gave that one a chance. I'm just not even going to go there.
Not even. I mean, the big kicker to him too is that you're watching the whole thing, and then I finally found out that he supposedly has a box that he can put all these haunted things in, and it'll contain the spirits in the box. And I was like, done at that point.
Wow.
Don't need. Yeah, that was some sort of I don't know if it or whatever, but I never knew it when it came out about his, that's what he was doing, with his room at home with all these collectibles and stuff. He's stealing from these people, in my opinion. But
yeah.
It sounds kind of like the Robert Best debacle on Ghost Adventures when they did Trans-Allegheny. The guy that created the quote-unquote parabot that was supposed to be able to trap spirits. And then on his big unveiling of the parabot, he's actually caught on TV throwing an EMF detector and saying it was knocked out of his hand. They actually confronted him about it. And
oh, wow.
I think they actually apologized for it. I think the Ghost Hunters crew actually apologized for him. And like, yeah, well, there goes your credibility. Not yet had anyways. He had a freaking plexiglass box with a Tesla coil in it going off, and then he had like all these it sounds cool, but then you have all these meters on it, like EMF meters and stuff. What the hell do you think you're reading?
Yeah.
Like, it has an alarm on it. You have a freaking Tesla coil right next to it.
I just pulled up this parabot. This is the greatest gift you guys have given us tonight. I could talk for days on this thing.
Yeah, the little ghost dragon thingies on it really make it, give it that professional edge.
It's green fluorescence, y'all. That's what it is.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. They actually confronted him about it. You can clearly see him throwing the EMF detector.
Well, all of those lights are going to throw off the...
it's like it was making lights blow up, and they're tasting like they're fighting tinfoil, that metallic taste in their teeth, because it's just giving off so much electricity in the room, and they're just going crazy thinking they're catching stuff.
And they think they smell sulfur, too.
Oh, God.
Yeah, look it up. You could do a whole show just on that.
Yeah, this is again, I'm very grateful for this gift you've given me. I can write an expose on this now. This is my next WebBot project, I think, Chip.
Oh, that's fine. At least I never believed in this box. I didn't really believe in WebBot either, but it sounded cool, and I was all over it, and I thought, I got you on this one, and then 10 seconds later, I was like, what a moron. I was like, well, I'm balls deep into this conversation. I might as well keep going stupid. That's my usual stance on it. If I'm already arguing for it, just keep arguing for the sake of it. But,
This was on Ghost Adventures you were talking about, right?
Yes, when they investigated the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Yeah, that was the live Halloween episode that they did. That was just a train wreck.
Yeah, they're taking the two inexperienced investigators. So what?
Well, I would say all the live shows have been wrecks, no matter who's done them.
Yeah, there's what is the Search? What is that show? Not In Search of, but the guy who kind of does the Ghost Hunters. He hosts the Ghost Hunters when he has his Destination Truth. That's it. That's another one out there.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, but I haven't really watched it for 2 seconds. I'll give you that because, like you were saying, I just don't even watch these shows anymore. I just started watching that Chasing UFOs, and I'm kind of looking at it funny. It's like watching a wreck happen, and I'm like, I know my brain's telling me something's wrong, but I'm still watching.
I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. You understand, for those of you that I don't know or whatever, I hate all this crap. I hate these shows, I hate UFOs, I hate everything. Anyway, I kind of like the Chasing UFOs show.
Oh, now you like it?
It's okay. Because they don't believe anything. It's kind of cool. And they mess with each other. Like, they went to this guy's house. Chip, what's that guy's name with the alien in the window?
Yeah, it's Stan Romanek.
They went to Stan Romanek's house, right? And they have like a camera right on his little bedroom window where supposedly this alien pops up. And the one guy goes outside and literally sticks a little mask up and freaks out the other investigator. I kind of like that. They're making fun of themselves a little bit, which I can appreciate.
Yeah. The show I really got into it with was Matt Moneymaker on Finding Bigfoot.
Oh, God, that I can't
First of all, Squatchy as an adjective was
There's
classic.
a Squatch in these woods.
This is about, I don't know if it was last year or 6 months. It was a while ago on our Twitter account. I did something, hashtag finding Bigfoot full of shit or something like that, right? And next thing I know, Matt Moneymaker's like twittering us back. We were in a full-on fight with this guy, on Twitter.
Tweeting, hon.
Okay, well, tweeting. I buffer, so I don't tweet. Anyway, and I wouldn't be doing any of it if it wasn't for you, because I'm busy rubbing sticks together in the woods out here. So he was like, these people don't know anything. They're nobody. And I'm like, yeah, we got more followers than you, though, right, Matt? Go lay down. I was like, whatever. But he likes to threaten a lot of people. Matt Moneymaker likes to threaten to sue a lot of people. And if you talk nasty about him or say that he's high on the set or anything like that, and all you have to do is take one look at his friend Bobo over here to figure out if anybody's smoking dope around here, all right? And that's fine. If you want to smoke weed and find Bigfoot, go for it. Hang out in the woods for a while. Chances you hurting yourself or someone else are really low, so just have at it over there.
Though I do love your rants on Matt Moneymaker. We only have a couple minutes left, and I'd like for our guests to share any information that they'd like about what they're doing, what they got coming up, how people can reach out to you, whatever you guys want.
We don't have a lot going on, for a while.
Yeah,
this is the quietest we've been.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of taking a break in the summertime. All these places, it's just too damn hot.
Yeah.
So we did the Battleship 2 years in a row in the dead of summer, the USS North Carolina, and you want to talk about dreadful. It's just horrible. So
we were just out that way. Yeah, it was hot as anything.
So we actually have the Battleship scheduled again in October, but that's all we have on the agenda right now. We'll probably set a couple more things up by the end of the year. Maybe some stuff early next year, but as of right now, that's it.
So, anything crazy happen at Battleship North Carolina there?
It's actually been a pretty good place for us. I was actually never a fan of it just because there's so many variables that go into it. It's a boat. It's always going to be making noise. I was in the Coast Guard for a year and a half, and I lived on a boat, and I know you can think you're sitting perfectly still, and the boat's just making all kinds of crazy noise. It sounds like Sasquatch himself is running on the deck above you. But it's actually been quite surprising, some of the stuff we had. We actually had an investigator, she had her camera permanently broken by something.
Oh, wow.
We had, first and foremost, I will say I'm not a huge fan of the K2 meter. The K2 meter is just crap, pretty much. But this is probably the only occasion where we actually had somebody messing with it. We had our friend Kathy was there and asking questions, was actually responding to her, and then it stopped and said, if you need to use whatever energy my camera has, go ahead and use it now to show yourself. And like literally right after that, camera died and the screen to this day is broke. It will not work anymore. And of course we found out about that, and me and Karen were like, yeah, whatever, we'll go shoot this down. And I had a theory that it was the boats going by on the river were sending messages back and forth, radio messages, and that's what it was picking up. So I actually went out there and sat with a K2 for a while, watched boats go by. It never went off. Went downstairs and put it back in the same place, and was doing the exact opposite of what they said it was happening. Like we would ask questions and nothing would happen, and then whenever we would talk about something else, it would go off, almost like it's like, hey, I'm here. So I said, what I did was I took my camcorder and set it down in front of this meter. And I said, we're going to leave for half an hour and come back and then get my camcorder. I'll review the video. If this meter goes off or gone, then obviously it's some sort of stray signal, and then we'll just throw it out. But turns out, after reviewing the video, 30 minutes of nothing until I walk up and peek my head around the corner and I say, peekaboo, and it goes off. and then I run up to it. It starts flashing, and I run up to it, and it just stops. So
Nice.
I understand. I know that cell phones make it go off. I know radios make it go off, but for it not to go off for half an hour and then just do it when I show up, and obviously, my phone was turned off. I don't even know if I had it on me. And
well, the whole time you and I were messing with it, it was doing the exact opposite it had been doing with Kathy. So instead of answering us, it was essentially ignoring us and then, going off when it shouldn't have been. It was just doing the opposite of what it should have been doing and teasing us. It was just very clearly teasing us.
Yeah, you get right up on it.
Basically.
You get right up on it and wouldn't do anything. Sorry, Karen.
Oh, no, it's fine.
It's all right. Those are the pitfalls of having 5 people on a radio show.
Yeah, and that was pretty interesting, and Karen actually had something happen.
Yeah, it's my top 3 places to investigate because it's one of the few places I've ever actually had a minor experience. Another investigator and I were down in the Brig area, and we saw a shadow go darting across a doorway, and when we went to go chase the shadow, we actually heard multi-noted whistling sound, and we couldn't recreate it by doing anything, moving any metal doors, turning anything, nothing like that would recreate that sound. And we caught the sound on video, and it sounds like somebody blowing a whistle in a specific pattern, like somebody would do on a ship. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is deep in the ship, too. I mean, you're not going to hear anything from outside. I mean, this is deep in the bowels of the boat. So it makes it that much more interesting. And coincidentally, that's where ghost hunters, basically one hallway across from that, they had the same experience. They actually they were chasing a shadow figure, and this was early on in their careers, so it gives it that much more quote-unquote legitimacy. So I'll take that as well. But
There you go. Sounds good. John, any closing words? I know you've been quiet a little bit.
Yeah, these investigations were all before I was on board, so I don't have too much to add to those.
There you go.
But, yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Very good. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having us. My pleasure. Yeah,
and audience, we'll be back in 10 minutes after our break.
Yes.
Play us out, Joe.
George, and I have a new show that will air the first Friday of every month from 11 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. The show is called Insight with psychic medium Christopher George. It's all about psychic readings. I welcome my listeners to call in for a free reading. Just remember, don't ask me a question that you really don't want the answer to. I'll give it to you the way the spirits give it to me. Straightforward and real. The first Friday of every month. Insight, 11 to midnight.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Light up your night with the Kevin Smith Show. Hi, this is Kevin Smith. Join me Monday through Friday right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Ships of an alien source are approaching from the sky. Radio contact has been attempted but cannot be established. Instructions are to prepare for an attack by an unknown enemy.
with your hosts, Chip and Nicole. The phone lines are open, and the number is 504-273-7379. You can ask our guests any of your questions or give us feedback. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and visit our website, mindcemetery.com, for shows, news, and blogs.
That we have the best intro song in all of Paranormal Radio, flat out. I hope we don't get sued for it.
We will, eventually. Our time is coming.
Once we make $1 million, it'll be on the radar then, right?
Good thing is our net profit from this show is $0.
I don't think Lil Wayne cares.
No.
Bitch better have my money, I think he's going to say.
We have nothing.
Oh, your radio show sucks? F you, pay me. He's going to come in here Henry Hill style. Nobody's listening? F you, pay me.
I told Chip that first of all, that was Jimmy Conway that he was saying, impersonating. It wasn't Henry Hill.
No,
Henry Hill was it, but he was impersonating Jimmy Conway.
He wasn't talking about Jimmy, he was talking about Paulie.
Oh, yeah, it was Paulie.
Get it together.
I kept thinking it was at the... never mind.
Yeah, you don't know, because you haven't seen
I just watched the movie like a week ago, actually.
You're wrong.
Again.
And you're wrong today.
I know.
And you were wrong a week ago, and you're always wrong.
I am. So, I told Chip I'm hijacking the show for like 10 minutes.
Whatever. Take it.
And I'm doing it.
I'm going to drop the mic, son.
Drop it. So, for those of you that remember, I was having knee surgery last time we talked in a couple days. So, I wanted to give you an update of how that went, because I know you care. So, I was prepped for surgery, and I was laying on the operating table, and my surgeon came in, and he said, we have good news and we have bad news. The bad news is we're not operating today. The good news is you're pregnant.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So, so I am about 12 weeks pregnant. Yeah. It was a surprise child, to say the least.
It's the Immaculate Conception.
Not quite immaculate. It
Reception?
was reception.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the Immaculate Reception. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got Deuce on the way.
Deuce.
So I'm about 12 weeks. I'm actually out of my first trimester almost here and didn't even know it.
Never knew it, folks. Just
roll
it along.
No idea. So, we got our second baby on the way.
Yep.
So prepare for me to get a lot more moody than I have.
Yes. We went from 0 to full-blown pregnant in like 24 hours. It was ridiculous.
The first 4 days after I found out, I laid on the couch.
Never got off the couch.
I just laid on the couch and cried.
It was so depressing.
I was very depressed.
It's a lot of crying and sleeping and laying.
I love babies, and I really do. I love the baby phase, right? But I am the most miserable, hateful, pregnant person you've ever met. I hate being pregnant, drinking and smoking and doing drugs, and you can't do any of those things when you're pregnant.
Pills.
So I love pills. I do. And you can't take them when you're pregnant. So, yeah.
There's prescription bottles. So.
Now
before our detractors say they're on drugs at the Mind Cemetery.
Follow this little
past tense. I was on drugs.
Going on here. So after the tragic surprise, it's a baby, not a surgery. Keep in mind, my knee still hurts, and it's going to hurt for the next 9 months.
The knee is still broken, by the way. It's the Derrick Rose injury, for God's sakes.
No doctor will touch me with a 10-foot pole now that there's
or
beside me.
Will I touch you with a 10-foot pole?
Don't flatter yourself, dear. It may be centimeters.
10 foot, I said pole.
So then we go a couple days later, and I get a sinus infection, and I pass it along to my son, which I'm still fighting, by the way. I still have a sinus infection. And then we go to the beach to try to clear our heads. You know, we're going to clear up some things. We're going to relax and decompress. And then our house gets struck by lightning.
Caught on fire.
Didn't catch on fire quite, but
it's almost
bad. It killed our internet, TV, Chip's computer, our air conditioning, our garage door opener, all of our small appliances, our large flat screen downstairs, all of it.
Cable boxes.
Yeah, we had nothing. For like 4 days, we were living in hell.
A router, the wireless.
There was nothing that worked.
All gone.
Our phone. So anyway, that wrapped up today, finally.
Phone.
After spending a week arguing with insurance.
Not really. They gave up. They gave us what we wanted.
I had to give a lot of paperwork that you were immune to. I
refuse paperwork.
I had pictures of everything. I had to fill out damage estimates. It's ridiculous. So finally, it looks like we're going to get paid.
Our Mona Lisa caught on fire.
Yeah, we had the original Picasso. Yeah, it's toast. Yeah. Anyway, so that was...
Shroud Turin is now missing.
That was our 3-week stint there. And then last week I had an ear infection caused by my sinus infection, so I couldn't even put my headphones on. Yeah, life's been pretty rough, but we're making it, I think. Are we?
Yes.
Yeah, we're making it.
We're rich now.
Yeah.
We're loaded.
Yay for homeowners insurance. Yeah, and LS had a comment here. He said, after the third, or he or she, I said, after the third month, you're better in pregnancy. I'm hoping so. With our son, I wasn't so much. Actually, I was pretty sick the 5th and 6th month, and then months 7, 8, and 9 were pretty much hell on earth, as I was bloated and had to pee every 3.5 seconds. But we'll see. Hopefully this one goes better. I'm working out 3 times a week, so hopefully that'll change things. I don't know. I'm trying. Cop, I know you were interested in it last time. The zombie run is out of the question for me now. I can't do it. My knee's still broken, and I got a kid inside me, so I can't even participate in the zombie run. That was most crushing. But, yeah. So that's been the last couple weeks. Anyway. Let's get back to paranormal stuff, because that's why you're here. You don't really care about all this.
Yes.
Except that there'll be a new paranormal dork in our household.
Yeah. A new baby to be worried about being abducted, Nicole, I have to say. We'll have to put bunk beds in the room.
I engaged in a little debate as soon as I entered our chat room today because, you know, nothing says Nicole like arguing nonsense.
Like fighting as soon as you show up after being gone?
Fighting everyone all the time for no reason over the credibility and merit of Kanye West versus Jay-Z. And you all should know that I have a passion for those two artists. The particular chatter disagreed with me. But I felt that I got a little venomous, and I wanted to take the chance to publicly apologize for that, because everyone's entitled to their opinion. Although Jay-Z and Kanye West are truly the greatest artists of our generation.
No. As long as their opinion is the same, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're cool as long as everyone's opinion.
No, it's differing opinion, and that's fine. I don't really care.
No, I think it's a valid point that the rap world's quote-unquote sampling is nothing but the rest of the world's ripping off. Okay, you know, just because they threw some money at somebody after they got done taking it.
Okay, the song is titled Otis.
Yeah. Oh, well, they're doing him a favor, I guess, right?
It's a tribute song.
He's dead. It is not.
And I went to the concert.
What's he talking about? What part in that song is he talking about Otis Redding's life?
Being a pimp.
Oh, he's a pimp, huh?
Yes, Otis Redding is one of the original pimps.
Oh, okay, so that's what the whole song was about, right?
Being a pimp, yes.
And the part where he says, holler mañana, huh? Otis doesn't know Spanish.
He may. You don't know Otis.
He probably did.
He did know Spanish because he was a pimp, and he likes those Latina ladies with the big behinds.
You don't know.
Behinds.
But who doesn't, right?
Exactly. So let's get to something paranormal. All right, so I was at work today, right? Surprise. And I show up, and our secretary gets there like 7 a.m.
What are you talking about now?
She gets there at like 7 a.m.
What's her urethra?
Theresa.
Oh.
So Theresa, I roll up in the joint about 9 a.m. and
Wait, rolled up.
yeah, I wish. Theresa comes in and says she found this note on the floor. Okay? She shows me this note, and it's a yellow, like a sticky note, like a memo. And it says, "This place." Okay? And then below it, there's 3 lines of text, and they've been whited out, like deliberately with whiteout, which I don't know who in my office owns whiteout, but I guess somebody does. I've never seen it.
Ashley.
That's true. Probably. So anyway, Theresa says that she's curious about this note because it was randomly laying by her stuff. And, that's where we keep our petty cash and stuff, so nobody's really allowed to go there. Plus, I work in a really small office. There's only, 8 people, okay? So anyway, she held the note up to the light, and it said, "This place," and where it was whited out, it says, "is haunted."
No way.
Yeah. It was pretty creepy because we have no idea who wrote this. It wasn't there on Friday, okay, and it was this morning when she got in. And she's an older lady. She's 50, so I mean not old, but old enough that pranks don't really move her anymore, And, so it says "this place," and below it says "is haunted." Now, being in a small office, I know everybody's handwriting, and I'm telling you, dude, that wasn't anybody's handwriting that I know.
Ghost Post-it notes.
I thought it was kind of creepy. It was cool. I don't know.
That is kind of cool. Do you still have the note?
She still has it. She kept it, yeah.
Can we take a picture of it and post it?
Yeah, I can
on our Facebook page, which, of course, if you're listening, you need to go to the Facebook page and like us so you can, find out when we're actually doing shows with guests and people and find out what the topics are.
Of it tomorrow and post it up there because it's kind of cool. But
can I just help you out here for a second?
No.
Usually during a radio show, and I'm guilty of this problem as well, when one person's talking, the other one needs to shut the hell up.
But you're talking about stupid stuff, so why not just talk over you?
I'm plugging our site. I'm plugging it, baby. I'm plugging it.
You can plug anything. If they want us, they can find us.
You're right, but still, I got to beat them over the head.
I don't think they deserve to be beaten over the head.
You don't know our listeners. I'm sure they do.
I do. I know, and they're wonderful people.
They're very beautiful, too. It's the best-looking audience in paranormal radio as well.
It's true. We do have the most attractive audience.
Yep, by far.
Anyway, so chasing UFOs.
You want to talk about chasing UFOs now?
We started that right before.
All right,
and
I
think I made an interesting, something that interested you a little bit. Yeah, I do. I'm okay with that show. Mm-hmm. You fell asleep about halfway through one of the shows, and I watched.
Sure, but that's because I have sleep apnea.
I watched the rest of it, if you'd believe that.
Okay. Which one was it? Was that the Romanek one?
Yeah, that was the Romanek one, because I liked it. It was funny.
Nah.
That guy's a little crazy. Can we get him on our show?
Stan?
Yeah, Stan the man.
Yeah, he's he's kind of my friend. He's a Facebook friend, and I'm sure he'll come on. I just got to ask him,
Let's go ahead and ask him.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind having him on. I'd like to talk about his chasing UFOs experience. Who is the other guy, too, that I knew? Chuck.
Chuck Zukowski, yes.
Chuck Zukowski was on that show. Wasn't he a guest of ours at some point?
Yes, he was. He was one of the better guests that we'd had on in a very long time. He had some really... You know what I like about Chuck is that he does cattle mutilations, UFO investigations. I think he does abduction stuff. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, please. And he also does paranormal investigations and Bigfoot stuff. So, he's like the 5-tool investigator. There's no case too big for him. No case too small, and he'll be there. So, it's he also talked about a new tool he had thought of, which seems so simple it's ridiculous, that you don't hear paranormal investigators either on TV. You see how I did the tie-in to the first hour right there?
Shut up.
Is this where the cricket noise is supposed to play? Because we don't option. Yeah.
Like, if we're still on Blog Talk Radio, I would play the crickets right now.
Okay. So, because no one gets it. So anyway, what he was doing was, instead of just doing EVP recordings and all that kind of stuff, you go to a place where you know you got activity, right? You know, you've confirmed it, you've done all your homework, you've eliminated possibilities. We strongly believe this is paranormal, right? So you go in there with this child's toy, any kind of child's toy that has shapes and colors and symbols, okay, and stuff like that. And what else is there besides shapes and colors, Nicole? Numbers. That's it. There's numbers. So you bring something in that has these things that when you push said number, shape, color, then the toy will give off some sort of like sound response to it, right? So what you do essentially is asking whatever entity that's there, push number 3 or green or square, you know. So now you're starting to figure out how intelligent the entity may or may not be, see what spectrum of light it can see in type stuff, and see if it can see at all. So, you know, that's something that you won't hear about almost any other paranormal investigator doing right there, and Chuck Zukowski came up with that, okay? Way ahead of turning on and off flashlights and EVPs as far as I'm concerned. What about you, Nicole?
I think it's like trying to apply something scientific sounding to something abstract, putting a square peg in a round hole for the sake of the round hole.
Well, to me, it's natural progression in investigation, in my opinion. It's the next level to it. But, you know, we've talked about that plenty of times on our show. That technique. So, let's see. What are we doing here? How come I can't find this thing about... I can't find the damn thing about chasing UFOs anymore. Where they actually... where they talked about how 2 of the 3 of the people, which basically is not the woman, let's see, basically the other 2 guys are claiming that they wish that they would have had, is it UFO casebook or UFO case file? I can't remember what it is. Basically what they're talking about is they forgot that they should have had creative control of the show. Basically. How
do you forget that?
That's what a couple of them have claimed. The 2 guys have claimed. And they're apologizing for it, and hopefully next season we'll get some creative control and some ability to control what's edited and get some producer credit going here. The thing is, they're not stupid people, okay?
They may be.
No, they're not, because one of the guys is the ufologist of the group is like a, what is it? He does documentaries, so yeah, he knows a little bit of something about that. So it would be nice if he didn't pretend that none of that stuff happened, basically. You know, that he didn't have a creative control. And what everybody's talking about is like the promo that they have where they're wearing like the mole vest. They've got the drop down leg harness thing holding something that no one knows what it is. So, you know, and they're jumping over cars and being all sensational and stuff like that. And then when, you know, you get to episodes with guys like Chuck Zukowski and Stan Romanek, they had them on an hour show for maybe 10 minutes, you know, and when they did their investigation of Roswell, and they had Frank Kimbler on there who had supposedly found pieces of the Roswell crash, yet we didn't see the pieces of the Roswell crash. what? You know, it's like, did we forget something here? Did we forget? And then when they recovered items, you didn't see them, you know, you didn't see the process of bagging it, tagging it, and sending it to a lab type stuff. You didn't see the results of said lab test. You know, you didn't, you know, the Stan Romanek was nothing but a laugh fest when they tried to, you know, put the mask up and scare the other guy, you know. When the upside to Stan's video is I think, the facial expressions on the alien and the eyes blinking and stuff like that. That has not been recreated verbatim. So that's what I think Dan has going for him still. I know there are non-disclosure agreements out there that investigators have had to sign when they've looked at that case. But other than that, I'm not sure. That all, you know, is, you know, easy to say that that's suspicious, to say the least. But, so who knows what the reality is with the Romanek case. It's a very famous case. It's all over YouTube. Everybody can go look at it and see for themselves and say whatever they want to say. But as for having Stan on for a guest, sure. Him and his wife, I'm sure, would love to come on sometime, or would be able to come on. Who knows if they'd love to come on? God knows. You know, I can't speak for them. But yeah, that's what you'd have to prepare yourself when you have guests on. And I think that's, to say the least, with all the guests, is that you have to prepare to have someone come out of the woodwork say that person's full of crap. You know, big surprise, right? That's going to happen. So, you know, anyway, with Chasing UFOs, a lot of I think his name's Ben and James were kind of teamed up and said, well, we don't like where this is going, and that, and the Erin, I think her name, or Ryder, or whatever the hell her name is, I can't remember, his state silent in the whole thing.
She's the TNA.
Man, not even that good, but whatever, you know.
There's a low bar.
There's a low bar in the community, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The bar's pretty low.
I can't.
I mean, they're not our listening audience. If they were, they'd be a lot hotter.
If they were, it'd be a lot rougher for them, right?
Exactly.
They get a lot more criticism.
Just to let you guys know, as a PSA kind of thing, there's a picture floating around the internet, which I was fascinated with because, you know, I love sharks and ocean crap. Anyway, the picture floating around is a shark tank exploding or breaking at the Scientific Center in Kuwait. And basically it shows escalators like submerged in a couple feet of water and sharks swimming around in this area. I want to let y'all know that it's a fake. It was released today. It was a Photoshop, and there's nothing going on at the Scientific Center in Kuwait. It's pretty impressive when I first saw it, though. So. Yeah, here's the quote that Dr. Ben McGee from Chasing UFOs, I finally found the article, you know. James and I both had expectations, and for our own hopes of an ultimately serious project, we both saw the project heading in a different direction as time went on, and were powerless to influence it. That's Dr. Ben McGee's exact quote. Robert Hastings did an article for UFOhastings.com. It's also on UFOchronicles.com. You can check that out there. And James Fox put a big, long response on Facebook on Leslie Keene's Facebook account. If you want to check that out, if you're into that. And they're both talking about how, you know, basically they wanted to call it sightings investigated and all this kind of stuff. The different differences in the show that actually. Hello?
Hello, yes, I'm back. Thank you very much.
It's okay, I got hung up on too.
Oh, okay.
I think Joe was a little mad at us.
Might have fell asleep.
He thought we were taking the show in a bad direction.
Yeah. Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Hey, yikes. Okay. Where are we going then? Which way? Let's fix it quick.
Not Walking Dead, the other thing.
What Walking Dead? No, we're done with chasing UFOs. They claim, everybody came out bashing it, and like I said earlier,
about that. Nobody
in the
cares
first
about
hour,
that anymore. The falling skies.
It was like watching a train wreck, basically. But you keep watching anyway because it has to do with UFOs, and you're suckered into it because you're a fan of that kind of stuff, right?
I kind of like it, and I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, it's got enough razzle-dazzle for you.
No, it's not even about razzle-dazzle. I like it because the people are pretty skeptical, actually. At least one of the guys, what is it they say he is? They say he's a radiation expert.
Geologist guy? Yeah.
And he doesn't believe in any of it. He thinks it's all garbage. So I heart him, and he is my hero.
Love anyone that dashes dreams in this.
I do. I love all the dream crushers in ufology.
The dream crushers.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about falling skies?
Sure.
All right, go ahead, shoot. We got 25 minutes left here.
I think Falling Skies is boring.
Do you think it's getting boring?
I do. I'm a little bit bored by it.
I could kind of with you on that.
Wow.
I thought
you were a diehard.
I am a diehard, and I was hoping for Pope to come back, and he did, just in time to save the show. Basically.
Pope is not going to save the show.
He did just change the show, in my opinion, because they brought back Old Boy's Girlfriend, and it was predictably manipulation.
Just stop with the love story already. If I wanted to watch a love story, I'd rent a good romantic comedy.
Or read 50 Shades of Grey.
Which I already read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And did I tell you all what I thought of 50 Shades of Grey?
No.
First of all, y'all know I'm a fan of vampire anything.
Yeah.
This wasn't about vampires, and for some reason, the majority of the community thinks 50 Shades of Grey has to do with vampires. It doesn't.
No.
At all. It has to do with S&M. Now, not a fan of S&M. Definitely not. That may be TMI for you, but it's just, they took it to levels that frightened me a little bit, and it was kind of gross. If I wanted to watch a porn, I would type in Pornhub.com. I wouldn't read this. Okay? And that's literally what it is. It's literally like a gratuitous sex. Constantly. Through the entire book. It's like 2 pages of dialogue that aren't sex. It's a little much. I don't know if women are just discovering that, they can look at porn too or something, because this is ridiculous. I have no idea why this book's selling. It's crap. Crap on top of crap. Just saying.
Oh. Interesting. Okay. So you think Falling Skies is boring?
Yes.
I told you that the whole point of the girlfriend coming back was to get at the one alien with the red eye, right? And it was true, right?
Right.
So I guess that was kind of predictable, but who knows? Hopefully when the alien sees this broad, he'll just, wax him or wax her as soon as possible,
I don't like, first of all, Ben was one of the only characters I liked because he was conflicted.
Yeah. He got fooled, yeah.
He was just, I think he was the only character that was kind of richly developed. And I know that's weird, everybody's like, but I liked him a lot, and now he's a lost cause.
He's gonna come back. You'll see. He'll wake up.
I know. It's stupid now, though, because now he's weak, and I don't care about him anymore. Because he is manipulated by TNA. I have no respect for.
Sure. But I got some old news. You want to talk about some old news in the paranormal world?
Hang on, I have one other thing.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys watch. I watch some weird shows sometimes. There's a show on TLC called Strange Sex. Since I was talking about sex a minute ago. It's weird stuff. Anyway, there was one that aired like a little bit ago about a woman that actually breastfeeds her husband.
Yikes.
And I just want to say this. Gross.
Gross.
Okay? Gross. To you and everyone out there that ever even thought of that, you're gross.
For even having that thought.
You should not be allowed to reproduce ever.
Yeah, gross.
you're banned. All right.
You're banned.
You're banned from any type of conception. All right, go on to old news.
Okay, let's start with, what's the older of the two? Yeah, just by a few days. It was kind of a hot month so far, in my opinion, for controversy in the ufology world. Hey, big surprise, right? We had Nick Pope, former administrator of the MOD here, the Ministry of Defense, coming out on his Facebook page on July 8th. I'll just read his entire post here. Theories about the Illuminati planning a false flag alien invasion at the Olympics as part of a plan to usher in a new world order are obviously nonsense. However, the games remain a high-value terrorist target, and the military assets being developed or deployed are entirely appropriate. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest of this stupid shit.
What is this? I can't even pay attention to you because it sounds stupid.
The backstory of this is that Nick did a article back on June 7th with the Mail Online, dailymail.co.uk, where
sounds
he
like a porn site too, by the way.
Well, it sometimes is. So anyway, he comes on here saying we should be prepared for even the most seemingly unfathomable things, right? But what this clown was doing, and I'm going to start putting him in the clown category. Sorry, Nick Pope fans, and let me tell you, we'll do a little backstory here. There's going to be a lot of backstory here, actually, in case you didn't know what was going on with Nick. Nick came out earlier this year apologizing for basically telling people that they were crazy and UFOs didn't exist while he was working for the Ministry of Defense, right? He finally came out and said, yeah, I was part of covering that stuff up. This is earlier this year. And then now he comes out in June talking about he warned with the summer of mass events we are all on high alert for terrorism, but we must also cast our eyes further afield and be prepared for even the most seemingly unfathomable. Okay. Nicole, when somebody who, the MOD investigating UFO reports between 91 and 94 comes out and says something like that, what do you think? You think he's talking about UFOs or not?
No.
Even when it says, cast your eyes further afield and be prepared for the most seemingly unfathomable.
Yeah, that doesn't necessarily apply
You already mentioned earlier that, we're already looking for terrorism, but we must also...
Stop trying to manipulate my answers.
I'm just telling you. The point is that he's coming out here, he's a wordsmith now. He's jumping in the category of being a wordsmith, in my opinion. He's one of these guys that comes out here and implies one thing, and then when you come out and tell him what your interpretation of what he said was, he'll say, well, no, I didn't say that. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. And I'm sorry that some of you misinterpreted that. Go to hell. Okay? Because that's what you were implying. All right? That's what you were doing. You got caught with your pants down. And then, later on, it comes out that you had some communication with Richard Dolan. And in this communication, via email, of course, of which I have yet to see this released, but from what I hear, you told him it was part of a publicity stunt for a video game. Well, what? And then, later on, during this whole Facebook little post here on July 8th you started, where, people like Sasha Christie are out here hammering him in the face with things he said and done, and implied, and other people are out here saying the same thing, like, hey, wait a minute, you're going to have the balls to come out here and say you're not a fucking UFO investigator. It's what you did when you were at the MOD for 3 years, and it's what you're making your living doing now, actually. Because nobody cares about your 17 years of garbage work that isn't important to people, that nobody cares about. I probably shouldn't call it garbage work, of course, but, you get the picture here, is that you're coming off as a UFO guy, okay, hanging your hat on the 3 years of UFO work you did, 1 minute, saying, talking about how important it was, and then the next minute you're saying, oh, well, it was just 3 years of 20. Ooh, it was nothing really. Meanwhile, it's the only reason you even talk to me, okay? Sasha really did a great job, actually, in my opinion. Sasha came at him good, and Lauren Cutts came at him good with some responses. And I posted on there, too, on July 8th about this, and I said, I'll read mine. I said, well, now Nick says that what he said about false flag alien invasions during the Olympics is crazy, and why even circulate that it's prime time to look to the skies, and that the NWO conspiracy false flag attack idea even exists. See, if all of these things are crazy and wild, then why imply? Then why talk about them? Right? Well, you talked about them because you were paid to. Because supposedly you're promoting something. Okay? Say goodbye to being a serious UFO guy from here on out, but you can say hello to still being invited to conferences and selling tickets. All right? Welcome to being an entertainer, Nick. And actually, you were one the whole time. Everybody came out and commended him for coming out and saying, hey, sorry, I lied to you all while I was working for the Ministry of Defense. It was kind of a part of my job. Yeah, I get it. Great. Thanks for apologizing. And here we go again. Right back in it. Right back to our old tricks, right? So, I basically backed up Lauren and Sasha in here saying they have every right to question you and your statements slash implying. And, Sasha hit him up about weaponizing space and sitting on boards like that, and, that's fine. You can sit on a board, but don't sit here and tell us it's not for weaponization of space, because that's exactly what you're talking. That's exactly what it's doing. That's why he's on the board, And, I at the time, I asked him, don't marginalize yourself with this stupid conversation all the time. But, you know what, he did. He did already. It's over. And you're not going to hear the end of Nick Pope. He's going to come back on, and he's going to do a lot of radio shows still, and he's going to talk, he's still going to talk about all kinds of stuff. So, we're dealing with UFOs, and at the same time, he's going to turn around when his nuts get in a vice that, hey, I'm not a UFO guy. See ya. Yeah, okay, whatever. So that kind of stuff pisses me off. So, Nick Pope, adios, buddy. You're done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you, and a lot of people with a brain are done with you. So,
the Pope.
Yeah, the Pope. You're done. You're done, in my opinion. I'm finished. I won't have you on the show. See ya. Go to hell. You got nothing to add. Plus, what you do add is bullshit. So, you'll just turn around and say something else later on anyway. So forget about it, right? Anyway, so that's that controversy. Any questions, Nicole? Comments? No,
I don't understand any of it. So.
You don't understand any of it? Well, people who know Nick Pope and are on Facebook and remember his Daily Mail comments in June and all that kind of stuff will know what I'm talking about. People in the know, let's put it that way. So, and you know what's crazy, too, now that I'm at it? I don't think a lot of other shows in their news segments, or even have news segments, in like current event segments in their shows. And I know why. It's because they don't want to sit and play the game with stuff. But in my opinion, if you're just a layperson and you were a fan of listening to Coast, all this other stuff, and you heard these people on there, and let me tell you, a lot of these people are drastically different on the big show, okay, than they are on other shows that come on. We've already seen that out of Wilbur Marshall. He is a linebacker for the 85 Bears, by the way, for anybody that was wondering. There's a prime example of how people are drastically different, Anyway, I forgot my point. Oh, the point is that I don't think a lot of people discuss these kind of happenings in the field because you wouldn't know it listening to the big show. Okay, so just trying to give you a little background of the shenanigans that go on in ufology. Okay, there's shenanigans everywhere, and everybody needs to know, in my opinion, who these people are that do the shenanigans, or else they're going to keep going out there and keep getting cheerleaded and rah-rahed to the finish line until they're dead, and everybody talk about what a beautiful man they are and what great things they did, and forget it, it's not true. Most of it's all garbage. You know, it's all PR and nonsense. So, anyway, the next one is has to do with Richard Dolan and one of his Andrew Basago, who, by the way, claims that he'll be president soon for us. So anyway, with Andrew got pissed off at Richard because actually a while ago because he defriended him on Facebook, and I think you're getting the picture on how absolutely effing stupid this guy is for being upset that he got defriended by Richard Dolan, okay? Richard Dolan wiped the mat with John Alexander, Colonel John Alexander, not too long ago in a debate with him about whether or not ETs actually exist and all that kind of stuff. Made the old man look like an idiot, of which he is, you know, okay? There's another jack clown you're going to hear a lot of on other networks and other shows, still getting interviewed, you know, even though he has nothing to provide anything. He'll just come out and say, I don't believe in UFOs, okay? They're all identified, in his opinion, I guess. I don't know. I forget what his opinion is. So, you know, who knows? It's all over the place. But he's in a book and all that good stuff. Well, Andy, if you remember, is the man who claims, along with Laura Eisenhower, and I'm sure a few other people are claiming it, are trying to corroborate a cock and bull story about a Mars jump room with Obama. Okay, and about how they've traveled to Mars, and there's basically alien dinosaurs that eat people and all this craziness. If you ever get to listen to his story on Coast to Coast, it is one of the better story times that you'll ever get to listen to. I will give that man credit for that. You know, it is a hell of a story, okay? Blows Hoagland out of the water, blows Weber's Intergalactic League of Light and Loving and Understanding, you know, it blows that out of the water as well. Basically, Richard doesn't believe Andrew, and so he shouldn't. And Andrew threw his little shit fit, basically, a book. And so, you know, some of the posts at Project Pegasus. Of course, it sounds so official, doesn't it, when you put projects in front of it. This blowhard sits there and tries to say he's got all kinds of information and documentation and proof and evidence and all this good stuff, and yet, has anyone seen it? Has anyone seen it besides listening to Laura Eisenhower say that she was also a part of this project? Oh, by the way, she's the granddaughter of, President Eisenhower, right? So, it just, Richard focuses on the point that this Mendez guy, who was a assistant to Richard Nixon, and his age at the time would have been around 16, so who knows, how much of a role as being an assistant to the president you can be when you're a 16-year-old kid. Evidently, Andrew's hanging his hat on Mr. Mendez's experiences assisting the president. So, I don't know if there's paperwork that says he even did do that kind of stuff. I don't know if he got a hall pass so he can go there after school or what's going on, So, anyway, just because Richard doesn't believe him, Andrew blows up, of course, and so it says that if Richard Dolan were a legitimate independent historian rather than a disinformant with a political agenda, just goes balls out about his Out of Truth broadcast from 7/7/2012 is talking about Bernard Mendez, calling it the Obama Mars Jump Story's latest fraudulent edition. It's just crazy. Oh, Stillings is the other guy that supposedly is corroborating this stuff with Eiser and Bisagio. But it's just garbage, you know, just pure garbage that this, you know, and here's how you should get your gauge on some of these people, you know, out here that are selling BS. Like, I've gone to Mars with the president in the jump room. How pissed off do they get when you tell them they're full of garbage? You know, sure, you're going to be pissed if you're telling the truth and someone thinks you're garbage, but how pissed off are you really going to get? You know, you'll have your moment of pissed offness, but then you're going to have to at some point say, you know what, who cares what you think, because here's my proof, and look out, back the truck up, because I'm going to unload it on you now, instead of just rant after rant after rant after rant of calling someone, you know, the textbook disinformation agent, because I think that's what he learned from Weber. You know, anytime anyone says he's wrong, you're an obvious information agent working for the government, and yada, yada, yada. You know, and we're basically all still waiting for our checks from that job, right? So it really kills me when this blowhole comes out here attacking Richard. And I posted on there for Richard. I was like, please, you know, in my thread, I was like, just don't even pay attention to, you know, do not engage these people in a debate or a conversation, you know. And I was like, do not engage Visagino, Weber, or Hoagland in a debate at any time, okay? They're master wordsmiths, master bullshitters, and will beat you over the head with their nonsense to the end, okay? Great. If you want to listen to them for story time, please do. Take it with a grain of salt. Use your own head, okay? There's no facility still in existence that you can go to and see this stuff. You know why? Do you know why? Because if these facilities existed, either in the past, present, or future, since you were talking about a jump room, and you can, you know, bend space and time with this jump room, wouldn't it be somewhere right now? Wouldn't you be able to go and take a video of it and post it on YouTube to declare to the world that you were right? Wouldn't you be on TV? Wouldn't you have something besides a lot of ranting on Facebook? Oh, so take your little Project Horsey. You know what, actually, I'm going to call it Project Horsey from now on. And just preface it like that from now on. Master bullshitters in this field. And people wonder why, when you want to take this serious, it doesn't get taken seriously. Because the loudest and the best wordsmiths are full of the most BS. So, a lot of people don't like to hear that kind of thing or consider this drama, but you need to know. Okay? Fine. Call it drama, call it whatever. You'll call it entertainment because you're listening, and that's fine. You turn the dial, go listen to somebody's abduction story. Go listen to Rectal Probe Fest, you know, for all I care. And see you next week, basically. So let's see, who are we going to have on next week? Let's check the old show calendar. We're starting to fill it out in September as well. Next week we have a return guest, actually, a guy that we had on during our Blog Talk Radio days that Nicole was very glad to have on the first time, because it is Bobby Nelson, who is a skeptic. He is the co-founder. He's the founder of The Bent Spoon, a skeptical magazine for the true believer. The Bent Spoon, a skeptical magazine for the true believer. You can find The Bent Spoon online. Just look up Bobby Nelson and The Bent Spoon. And he's also going to be joining us with co-founder Nicholas Callett will be on. So both those guys will be on. It'll be a good time. I'm sure they'll want to talk about The Bent Spoon. I know they have some Facebook pages, too, that you can get up on and check out. So get online, check out Bobby Nelson. He also has a radio show, Strange Frequencies, that he also does. So good guy. He's been our show friend for a very long time, and I like to keep it that way with good people as opposed to the Three Stooges. But But yeah, there's definitely not going to be a lot of fluff next week for Bobby Nelson to come out and talk about or get wax whimsical about. He is a big fan of James Randi, so we'll probably talk about that a little bit too. So yeah, that's all the news that's fit to be tied, and join us next week for Bobby Nelson and Nick Callis, founder and co-founder of The Bent Spoon, Skeptical Magazine. Skeptics next week, Skeptical Delight. Nicole will be in heaven. Have a good night.
Never made it as a wise man, I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man, I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind